Welcome back to the BLU Real podcast. I'm your host, Nathan Gendusa, and today I'm joined by Dr. Ronak Mehta, a physician and founder of Nerdbugs. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here and chat with you. I know we chatted a few times, so really honored that you invited me.
We're excited to have you. Last couple times we chatted, you've given me a lot of knowledge on things I didn't know about, so it's important to share with the world.
Well, I'm glad. I'm so glad.
So, diving into our first question, before we talk about Nerdbugs, your company, I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about your background as a physician.
Yeah. My primary career, I was formerly trained as a family medicine doc. I practiced for a number of years in Washington, D.C. and Salt Lake City and here in Wisconsin. I no longer practice clinically, but I'm really excited to take the skills that I learned in my family medicine career and my medical education training and kind of transform them in a way that can impact a larger community with Nerdbugs, the business that I've founded.
Amazing. And then would you care to describe to us what Nerdbugs is?
Yeah, so Nerdbugs are these adorable anatomical plushies in the shape of different human body parts. And they're used to teach about the body in a fun and lighthearted and quirky way. They're often gifted to kids and adults that are hospitalized, undergoing surgery, or various medical treatments. And then they're also really used by teachers, parents, and educators to teach kids and adults about their body in a way that doesn't feel so heavy or stigmatizing.
Awesome answer. And then going off of that, you've also talked about how you're aiming to educate people through Nerdbugs. Could you just kind of describe how you are educating people through hospitals, through schools, and kind of what that looks like? What does that process look like?
So what we really want to do is help people understand their bodies in a fun way that will celebrate our differences. And so we're hoping that with our brand, we create educational content, and we're building on creating books and other, like an educational series that can help teach kids and adults not only what your different body parts are, but how to best take care of them.
Mm-hmm. I could see how being in a hospital situation, you have something going wrong, just even having a body part that might not be functioning or failing, having that like sense of comfort with a smile. I know a lot of them have smiles or those body parts,
Yeah.
right? So
I think the neat part of it, especially in like the healthcare or the hospital setting, we really want to kind of be there for people during all stages of their health journey. So whether that they're going in for, let's say, X-ray or imaging, or let's say they're hospitalized for, some a variety of medical conditions. Let's just say asthma. We want to be there when they're maybe not feeling their greatest or when they're recovering, and then when they're well, like to kind of show them how far they've come and feel seen throughout that process.
I love that. That's super inspiring too. So in regards to our next question, talking a little bit more about how you as a founder and a CEO, what kind of legacy do you hope to leave and what kind of impact are you hoping to have?
Um, that is a great question. I think one of the legacies that I want to lead is how can we make health education accessible to people of all ages in a way that they can understand.
Mm-hmm.
I think, the language around medicine is often like boring and complex. And so how can we make it distilled down in a way that is engaging, maybe sometimes even entertaining for people so they get value out of it? I think that's one big piece of it. And then, the other piece of it is providing them comfort and then providing them hope. And as I sort of mentioned, like people are so much more than a diagnosis. Like, how can we be there for them during their stages of life to help them feel seen, be seen?
Right.
It's been neat. We've worked with not only like parents and educators, but also like we've worked with a lot of like healthcare hospital systems, medical organizations, and educational facilities or schools. And all of that to really help not only support like parents and kids, but also their siblings,
Hmm.
right? A lot of times when someone's hospitalized for a surgery or something complex, especially a young kid, there's a lot of questions. Like when they go home, like their siblings have questions, or their friends at schools may have questions, their teachers may have questions, not necessarily they have to divulge their entire medical history to them, but it gives them a way to talk about what happened to them in a thoughtful and meaningful way and in a tangible way that people can better understand.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I guess going off of that, that kind of takes us into our next question a little bit. Um, and kind of relating to your company and your legacy, is there anything that you've learned about yourself as a leader through this process of growing a company, something that's kind of different than what you originally started in?
So when I was primarily, working in clinical medicine, and even like when I was first starting Nerdbugs and finding my footing, I think we're all kind of still finding our footing, no matter what part of the journey that you're in. I would assume that like my skills as a physician didn't really translate into building a business. And what I have found through the years is that that's like absolutely not true. Being a physician or being in healthcare, my whole job, the thing that I valued the most was building relationships. And and that translates so well into business, because if you do it right and you focus on relationships and you're not transactional, I think it really gets you really far in life. If you genuinely care about what the other person is going through, what problems they have, and how you might be able to help them collaboratively like solve those problems. I think yes, it makes it so much more meaningful, and it really opens up so many doors for you.
Right. I I would agree with that 100%. I believe that that's also our business model at Blue Breakthru Leadership U. We're very not transactional. We want to see companies grow, thrive, kind of find their spark again. If they are stuck in the weeds, or we just really want to see their company grow through the leadership of others. And I guess that's a testament to you and your leadership. And you started your own company, and there's a bunch of other people out there right now that are probably like, well, can I do this? Can I not do this? And so you're an inspiration to them.
Oh, thank you.
Um, and then I guess the last question would be, do you have any advice for someone dreaming of growing a business from scratch?
Um, so I talk about this a lot, actually. I had the idea for Nerdbugs, oh gosh, when I was still in medical school. From the time that I had this idea kind of brewing in my head to the time that I finally had the courage to execute and like really make that idea a reality was
Mm-hmm.
close to 10 years. And during those 10 years, a lot of what I had ended up building up was a lot of courage and hope and belief. And so it sounds very hokey, but I would just really encourage people to take a chance on themselves and like really believe in yourself and bet on yourself. I think people spend years of their life talking to them in such themselves in such an unkind way that it like leads to a lot of self-doubt and negative beliefs about themselves, and if they're able to actually accomplish these like seemingly impossible things. But I've learned in the last, since I launched or since right before I launched, to flip that narrative in my head and really think about life as a series of like, why not? Like, why can't I do that? Like having a little bit of hope and belief in yourself, and taking chances on yourself, like because those micro chances that you take on yourself will build up your confidence to do something even greater.
Mm-hmm. That's a great answer. And it's all about mindset and habits and leadership, and it's not easy to develop confidence like snapping your fingers like that. But thank you for inspiring our listeners. And listeners, if you need a process to grow your business, please feel free to reach out, because we have that. We can simplify business for you. But thank you for joining us today. And I am Nathan Gendusa, and this has been a BLU Real podcast.